Welcome to Meet the Candidates. I'm your host, Kim Kotis, and I'm here with Sean Mullaly, Democratic candidate for the 92nd District State House of Representatives here in the state of Michigan. Welcome, Sean.
Thank you for having me,
joining
Kim.
us.
Thank you.
Well, so Sean, tell me why you're running for office and what you hope to do in office.
Well, I'm running because right now our state government is broken. We've got poison water having been given to all the residents of Flint, and now it's taking far too long to fix that. In recent years, they've put new punitive taxes on seniors' pensions and on minimum wage workers through the reduction of the earned income tax credit. And those are the last two groups we ought to be squeezing for more money, frankly.
Absolutely.
And they just haven't done enough with the roads around here. There we've got potholes and crumbling infrastructure everywhere you look. Right now, I serve on the community college board, Muskegon Community College. I've been in that position for 6 years. I'm actually really excited about some of the things we've been able to accomplish during that time with brand new science and technology facilities being built. We're coming downtown and revitalizing the old Muskegon Chronicle building, which I think is going to be a big benefit, not just to students, but to the downtown economy and to the broader community as well. And we went and we sought voter approval and received the voter approval for that through a millage. And then some of the trustees, including myself, went and negotiated about $17 million in outside investment through state and federal grants to help pay for that. So it's not being done on the backs of the students, and we're not leaving an unpaid bill for our successors in office. And I'm really satisfied with the way the college is running right now, which is why I'm very confident in taking this next step toward state representative. Our current rep, Marcia Hovey-Wright, is term limited, and she's reached out to me to encourage me and give me her support to run for the position, and I've agreed to do it.
Well, that's great. Well, let's talk about what led you into politics and how, from your education and your role here with the community college, how you've seen this community growing and what are some of the demands that are going to be in our future?
Well, my first interest in politics years ago was on environmental issues. Living in Muskegon with our lakes, the big lake, and then our smaller lakes around here and the critical coastal dunes that we have, I became involved with some of those issues, ultimately served for a number of years on the board of directors for Alliance for the Great Lakes environmental advocacy organization, and really found that rewarding. Got deeply involved in a lot of issues, and I've worked with some of our legislators, educating them on some environmental issues, including the need for more renewable energy, and especially the risks of the new horizontal fracking technology that it's unproven as far as safety goes, and there's a lot of questions around it, and I really want to see us hold off on that until we know a little bit better what's going on with it.
We're talking about the environment, and let's talk about some of the attractions that we have here in Muskegon County and some of the perils and challenges that we're facing in terms of the state overall and keeping a really healthy environment.
Well, our biggest attraction as far as our natural resources go is water, and that's regards to tourism. It's very critical to agriculture. It's critical to human health, and that in our Great Lakes is where I see a lot of perils. One thing we see is more and more invasive species coming in. We need to address that. They come in through the Chicago diversion. They come in through ocean tankers if they make it into the Great Lakes in the ballast water, and that's how we got zebra mussels, and we're getting Asian carp coming up through the Chicago diversion, and I think we need to address both of those things. We also need to look at potential oil spills. What happened not that long back in Kalamazoo with the heavy oil leakage from that pipeline that got into the river and was just a huge mess to try to clean up. Very expensive, cost a lot of environmental damage. We've got a similar pipeline, a very old, outdated one, going underneath the Mackinac Bridge.
Line 5, right?
Yeah, Line 5. And if that were to rupture, and it could at any time, that would be catastrophic. You'd have that entire area up there, right where Mackinac Island is, and basically go right all throughout Lake Michigan and Lake Huron. And there'd be no good way to clean that up. Once it's wrecked, it's wrecked. So I think we need to look at closing that pipeline down.
So in keeping the integrity of the Great Lakes, it's also keeping the well-being of the surrounding environments as well as within the state itself.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about infrastructure. You mentioned the crisis in Flint, and being a native of Flint, it's really important to me that we really do the right things for healthy Flint ahead of time instead of just remedial efforts. So what are some of the things that you think you can do as a state legislator in terms of trying to bring the resources and also to help rebuild the infrastructure there?
Well, we have to look first of all at why it happened. And it happened because our system is broken. You had an emergency manager come in there. You had all the power stripped from the elected officials who are accountable to the people. It's that lack of accountability that led, I believe, directly to the bad decisions that ended up with the human health catastrophe that we've seen take place. So we need to reform the emergency manager law so that we're not stripping power from local elected officials, and we're not stripping representation from all the local residents like happened there and has like happened in a lot of other communities. As far as fixing the problem now, we've got to bite the bullet, and we've got to, I mean, the state caused this, and we're going to have to fix it. We can apply towards the federal government to try to get some FEMA relief. Other states in similar situations have gotten that, and there's no reason that we shouldn't. But the bottom line is we have to have a sense of urgency, and that's not been there. From Lansing, we've seen a lot of people covering their backsides as opposed to rolling up their sleeves and trying to solve this problem.
And there's a lot of long-term health effects that can happen, not only for children, but all the other residents of the Flint area, as well as important to understand what our other systems around the state are, whether they're up to date or whether they pose any challenges that we need to face. I know Ann Arbor, they're facing some concerns with the Huron River. And we have Palisades that we're still not sure is such a secure environment there either.
Right.
So being a watchdog for the environment, I would hope it'd be one of your concerns.
Oh, absolutely. That's right top on my list of priorities and interests, and that's very strong in my background, and that will be a top focus for me as state representative.
McDonald's Candies. 1064 South Getty Street in Muskegon features an assortment of chocolate-covered nuts and creams, peanut clusters, fudge, seafoam, turtles, cherry cordials, and regular and holiday novelties.
A lot of important decisions are made in this building. I'm Brenda Sprader, running for Muskegon County Probate Judge. This is a family law position, and for years I've worked as a family law trial attorney and public defender representing juveniles and abuse-neglect families. I understand the frustrations and struggles that many families face, and as judge, my experience would give me the wisdom to be fair and the strength to do what is needed to ensure people involved with family court have a better experience. I'm asking you to vote for me, Brenda Sprader.
Big AAA Storage, offering individually enclosed climate-controlled units from 5x10 to 10x15 feet. Recommended for records, furniture, valuables, and antiques, as well as outdoor units ranging from 10x15 to 10x35 feet. All units are fenced, lighted, equipped with video cameras, and electronic keyed access with security gate. Open 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Big AAA Storage, fulfilling your storage needs.
Beginning as a lumber company in 1911, Fredericks Construction has been servicing the Muskegon area since 1969. Family owned and operated, they specialize in roofing, siding, windows, insulation, additions, doors, decks, and more. Located at 1940 Commerce Street in beautiful downtown Muskegon, their phone number is 231-722-3937. When you want quality workmanship, you want Fredericks Construction.
We all make mistakes. As a defense attorney, I've seen just how costly those mistakes can be. I've also seen the importance of our district court judges' sentencing decisions. That's why I'm running for district court judge. My name's Joshua Eldenbrady, and I'm asking for your vote on August 2nd.
Big AAA Storage, offering individually enclosed climate-controlled units from 5x10 to 10x15 feet. Recommended for records, furniture, valuables, and antiques, as well as outdoor units ranging from 10x15 to 10x35 feet. All units are fenced, lighted, equipped with video cameras, and electronic keyed access with security gate. Open 7 days a week, 300.
Hi, my name is Michael Poulin, and I'm a candidate for the office of sheriff in Muskegon County. This office has been a career goal of mine, and I've directed my professional law enforcement career towards it. My qualifications are based on my education, my professional development, and over 28 years of law enforcement experience here in Muskegon County. During my career at the Sheriff's Office, I was promoted through the ranks, ultimately serving as captain, having the opportunity to lead every division from jail administrator, traffic services supervisor, training coordinator, SWAT commander, and detective bureau supervisor. As your sheriff, I will be fiscally responsible and put an end to wasteful spending. I will ensure that your safety and the safety of the public safety community are my #1 priority. Through professional development and community support, I will bring integrity and accountability back to the office of sheriff. Thank you for your time. I would appreciate your consideration on August 2nd to serve as your next Muskegon County Sheriff.
In the 150 years we've been in business, many things have changed. Our greatest achievements are rooted in the things that haven't. Years ago, the person you called banker was also the person you called friend. When it came to service, there were fewer layers and friendlier smiles. And banks earned the trust of their customers and community while working tirelessly not to lose it. At Independent Bank, all this remains true today. Sure, we've made advances that help customers bank more conveniently and more comfortably. But at the end of the day, we know that people really need a trustworthy partner committed to their financial goals, dreams, and aspirations. And we've been happy to be that partner since 1864.
Welcome back to Meet the Candidates. I'm your host, Kim Kotis, and I'm joined by Sean Mullaly, Democratic candidate for the 92nd District State House of Representatives. So, Sean, you're serving your second term with Muskegon Community College Board of Trustees. Tell us about some of the progress you've made and some of the things that you've seen develop here at Muskegon Community College.
Oh, it's been an amazing time the last several years. When I first came on board back in January of 2011, we had a planning session to set our long-term goals, and we had several big items that the staff asked us to choose between. You know, new athletic facilities, new arts facilities, as well as upgraded science and technology labs, and also the idea of a downtown Muskegon campus. And our goal was to choose one of those to focus on for the next 5 years. And as we mulled over the ideas, we realized these were all necessary. And they made a compelling case for why we couldn't do without each one, because the college was outgrowing the current facilities and a lot of the technology was very outdated. So we decided to bite the bullet and do all of them. Now, the first thing we did was go to the voters and ask their consent to do this, because it would require millage, and we got good response back from the voters. People saw this as a very positive benefit for the community, so we went ahead, and then we sought the grants from the state and from the federal government, totaling now just about $17 million to help pay for it. And the new science lab is finished and up and running, and we did that construction in an environmentally sustainable manner. It's only the 5th building in all of Muskegon County to reach the gold LEED certification standard. So we're very proud of that. The next is the renovation of the Chronicle building downtown. And that's just starting now. That's going to be a new technology lab, and I think going to be a great benefit towards downtown. And then we've got athletic facilities coming up, as well as renovated arts facilities on the main campus. And I'm extremely happy with the way the college has been running. As the board treasurer, I can tell you the finances are rock solid, no budget concerns whatsoever.
Well, let's talk about education on the state level.
Yes.
And the funding issues, and not just Detroit schools, but whether we really have the right basis for the funding for schools here in Michigan.
Well, Proposal A, going back a number of years, set unequal standards between our various school districts and the per pupil funding. Some of the more traditionally wealthy districts got more per pupil funding than some of the other districts, and largely this part of the state, particularly Muskegon County, has for many years gotten shortchanged on that equation. I'd like to see that evened out so that we're brought up to par with what some other schools in the state are getting, I think that's only fair. I also think that our K-12 schools have been, generally speaking, underfunded, and money diverted from them to pay for other priorities by the current legislature and the current people in power. I don't think that's right, and I see it at community college level. We see incoming students, so many need remedial courses because they're not prepared for college by the K-12 system. So I think we need to put more funding into our public schools, and we need to bring that student performance up, and we need to start treating teachers with the respect they deserve as professionals, instead of treating them like the political punching bag that they have been for a number of years now, frankly.
Well, you mentioned that, and often teachers have been scapegoated for, expensive health care or other kind of privileges. But even on a deeper level, besides the attack on teachers, let's talk about the taxes that have been imposed on retired people here in the state, on pensions, and some of the impositions that they've looked to the public for. Tell me some of the things that you would do to change that, and some of the responses you're getting from the community in terms of as you're reaching out to the public.
Well, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. A few years ago, after Snyder came in, they put a new tax on a lot of seniors' pensions. They cut the earned income tax credit, which was basically a big tax increase on minimum wage and low-income workers. You saw all sorts of other tax credits across the board gotten rid of, homestead property tax credit, and a number of other things. And basically what this is, it's one big tax increase on all of the people in Michigan who can least afford it, the last people that you ought to be squeezing. And I think it's wrong, because at the same time, they took just about the same amount of money and gave it to big business in the form of a giant tax cut. So it was basically just a big shift from the least among us to those who already have plenty. And I think those priorities are backwards. I'd look to reverse a lot of that.
Let's talk about another thing. You come from, you're a Muskegon native, and you come from a proud family who's served this community in a lot of ways. Let's talk about some of the aspects of preserving Michigan's heritage. I mean, I know that you've been very much involved with historic districts. Could you talk a little bit about what we can do to help preserve the state and keep it vital?
Oh yeah, my family's been in this area for generations, and we know the history well. And especially in downtown Muskegon, you see, I mean, we've lost a lot due to demolition and urban renewal, but we still have a lot of historic buildings, commercial buildings and private residences, and a lot of them are under the protection of historic preservation districts. There has been efforts recently, I don't think they've quite come to fruition, but there have been efforts pushed to try to weaken a lot of those historic district protections, and I think that's a mistake. I think those protections are there for a reason. Those old Victorian homes like you see on Jefferson Avenue, Western Avenue, Muskegon, and more, they don't make them like that anymore, and they never will again. A lot of that artistry is gone as far as the woodworking and the masonry, and if we don't preserve it, we're going to lose it.
Well, we're going to take a break now and come back. Stay with us, and we'll be back with Sean Mullaly, Democratic candidate for state representative in the 92nd District.
Celebrate the grand opening of the new Muskegon Farmers Market, now located at 242 West Western Avenue in beautiful downtown Muskegon. With over 100 vendors, the market offers fresh fruits and vegetables, flowers, pet supplies, honey, maple syrup, fresh caught fish, and much, much more. Their brand new building includes a year-round indoor market, as well as an incubator and community service kitchen. This year, the Muskegon Farmers Market will introduce 2 new programs. The Power of Produce, teaching children ages 5 to 12 how to shop at the farmers market and prepare nutritious meals, along with Arts on the Market, featuring fine arts and crafts. You can enjoy live music performed on their outdoor stage as well. For more information, visit MuskegonFarmersMarket.com.
For years, people have put together photo collages for special occasions. They go through the photo album and old shoe boxes and pull out their favorite photos and put them on poster boards. The boards are a great way of sharing stories, but it can be a pretty tedious job. Well, we here at Clocks, we want to make that job easier for you. So just bring us all the photos and we'll scan them into the computer, and then we'll print out the collages on our large format printer. That way, all the photos will be in digital format so you can share them with your friends and relatives.
Hi, my name is Michael Poulin, and I'm a candidate for the office of Sheriff in Muskegon County. This office has been a career goal of mine, and I've directed my professional law enforcement career towards it. My qualifications are based on my education, my professional development, and over 28 years of law enforcement experience here in Muskegon County. During my career at the Sheriff's Office, I was promoted through the ranks, ultimately serving as captain. Having the opportunity to lead every division from jail administrator, traffic services supervisor, training coordinator, SWAT commander, and detective bureau supervisor. As your sheriff, I will be fiscally responsible and put an end to wasteful spending. I will ensure that your safety and the safety of the public safety community are my #1 priority. Through professional development and community support, I will bring integrity and accountability back to the office of sheriff. Thank you for your time. I would appreciate your consideration on August 2nd to serve as your next Muskegon County Sheriff.
We all make mistakes. As a defense attorney, I've seen just how costly those mistakes can be. I've also seen the importance of our district court judges' sentencing decisions. That's why I'm running for district court judge. My name's Joshua Eldenbrady, and I'm asking for your vote on August 2nd.
Hello, Muskegon. My name is Mark Dewitt. I'm the owner here at RPM Automotive. We've been here since 1996. We're a full-service auto repair center. We do both foreign and domestic repairs. Most of our repairs are performed same day. We do everything from AC, engine repair, and computer diagnostics. Feel free to call or come by and see us. We're located on Getty Street, next to the Getty Street Grill.
With 4 convenient locations, Jack's Corner Store is one-stop shopping at its best. Tools, fresh meats, produce, chips, snacks, and other grocery items, beer, wine, and liquor, even gas and lottery. That's why Jack's is your corner store, and so much more.
A lot of important decisions are made in this building. I'm Brenda Sprader, running for Muskegon County Probate Judge. This is a family law position, and for years I've worked as a family law trial attorney and public defender representing juveniles and abuse-neglect families. I understand the frustrations and struggles that many families face, and as judge, my experience would give me the wisdom to be fair and the strength to do what is needed to ensure people involved with family court have a better experience. I'm asking you to vote for me, Brenda Sprader.
Welcome back to Meet the Candidates. I'm your host, Kim Kotis, and I'm here with Sean Mullaly. Now, Sean, let's talk about, you mentioned broken government.
Yes.
Let's talk about some of the ways that you would work with your other colleagues in the state representatives to help reform the state government and the way it operates and the way it funds things.
Well, our system is badly broken, and I hear that every time I'm talking to a voter. They agree wholeheartedly. Recently, our state was ranked 50th out of 50, dead last when it comes to government accountability and transparency. And I think a few first steps we can do to fix that is open up the gubernatorial and the legislative offices to Freedom of Information Act requests. Currently, they're exempt.
Really?
Yeah, and I think we need some sunlight in there. You know, if you want to know what your governor's office or what your legislator's office is doing, I think that's reasonable. And I think we also need to look at the influence of big money in our politics. We need to enact campaign finance reform to stem the power of big donors, and part of that is going to be difficult because of the Citizens United decision by the U.S. Supreme Court, but you can overcome that with a constitutional amendment, and that process can start in the state houses. And so that's something I'd be willing to start as a state representative. Another thing that I think is causing a big problem is colloquially known as gerrymandering. It's the redistricting process where the elected officials themselves, the ones who are going to be running in an election, get to draw their own election maps, the boundaries of their districts. That's a massive conflict of interest, because what you see happen virtually every time is they draw it to their own advantage. They draw little extra lines around the voters they want and then exclude the ones they don't want, so they're almost guaranteed re-election in a lot of cases. I think that task of redistricting and drawing the election maps should go to an independent commission, not the people who are going to be running for office. I think that would create fairer elections and elected officials that are more accountable to the people.
Well, it's very sensible. One of the issues that we haven't talked about yet, and I hope that you would work toward, is what would you do to work with your colleagues to change the right-to-work laws here in Muskegon, here in Michigan?
Yeah, that has to be overturned. I was down there in opposition, in protest, the day that they passed and the governor signed that bill, and they skipped all the customary procedures. Normally there are committee hearings, there's public input, and a certain length of time is taken so that everybody's aware of what's happening with the bill. They skipped all of that. It was all done behind the scenes at the 11th hour, just like that fast. They rushed it through because they knew the public didn't like it. They knew they were doing something extremely unpopular, and they promised it was going to create a whole bunch of jobs and turn our state into a much more prosperous place, and the results just aren't there. It hasn't created any positive results, and I think it's time to go back and overturn it.
So for the public, do you have any final remarks that you'd like to make in terms of reminding them why you're voting and why it's important for them to show up and vote?
Yes, the August 2nd primary election in this particular race is in all likelihood going to determine who represents this community for the next 6 years, if history is any guide. And I think you need to come out and show up and vote because it's our civic duty. I'm asking for your vote in this election because I want to go to Lansing and represent this community, and I believe I have the strongest track record to do that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kimon.
And thank you for joining us on Meet the Candidates.
Bella Maria's in Norton Shores features live music every weekend, along with delectable Italian-American cuisine, succulent steaks, seafood, and of course all your Italian favorites. Bella Maria's Event Center can be rented for weddings, private parties, and corporate events. From their Palermo room, which faces the golf course and features a tent, to their elegant ballroom, Bella Maria's can accommodate up to 350 guests. Bella Maria's in Norton Shores. You can find them on Facebook.
Your vehicle is an important part of your life. It gets you where you need to go, so it's important to take good care of it. At Van's Quick Lube, every vehicle gets up to 6 quarts of high-quality Quaker State oil, a new oil filter, and a free car wash with every service. At Van's Car Wash and Quick Lube, you will get a quick wash that will be done right the first time, and you'll experience the hand-scrubbed and Simonized difference. With 6 convenient locations, Van's Car Wash and Quick Lube will keep your car looking good and running great.